Yo, 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 yo. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing this Friday? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back with a very special episode today, man. Today I got Mr. Mike Quick from the Philadelphia Eagles, from the North Carolina State Wolfpack, and of course, your Richmond Raiders. Unfortunately, Kev's not going to be able to make it today. He's on vacation, so it'll be just one ball head guy today. All right. So let's get this ad started from one of our local hometown ladies. Let's get this thing rolling.
Attention all Richmond County residents. Are you ready to take your fitness journey to the next level? Introducing online personal training sessions from a hometown native tailored just for you. Whether you prefer one-on-one attention or the camaraderie of group sessions, I've got you covered. DM me or send me an email to bdwall23@gmail.com to get started.
All right. That's email bdwall23@gmail to get started if you want to get some virtual personal training. All right. Our girl Brittany Wall has some great training for you. Looking to get in shape? Contact Miss Brittany Wall at bdwall23@gmail. All right. You guys, one more sponsored ad for the show today.
Welcome to Shirt Action in Rockingham, North Carolina, where creativity meets fabric. Discover our custom printed wonders at www.shirtaction.com or call us at 910-997-2610. We're not just a store, we're your partners in design. Unleash your style with our monthly specials, the hottest deals in town. Local or miles away, Shirt Action delivers personalized perfection. Dive into our vibrant world where ideas come to life on fabric. Join the revolution, dial in, or click your way to www.shirtaction.com now and let Shirt Action transform your wardrobe with your custom order today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, everybody. All right. This show will not be long tonight. We'll have a great conversation with a local legend. All right. When I say legend, I say legend. When I say got the stats, got the numbers, got the accolades to back it up, this guy is one of them guys that has it. We want to give him his flowers tonight. If you guys have any questions, as usual, you can hit me in the chat. All right. And besides that, we're going to get started to get these claps in, man, for this legend, local guy that did it at the top level. Top level. It's Mike Quick. How you doing, sir? Good evening.
Hey, Mr. Carter, how you doing, sir? From one ball guy to another.
Hey, ball guys know it all, man. We're very smart guys. A lot of wisdom in that baldness, man.
I like that.
For sure, man. Once again, man, thanks for coming on and being a guest on the Ball Guys Know It All podcast, highlighting some of our Richmond Raiders legends. Mr. Mike Quick.
We've had a lot of them. Yes, we have, for sure.
Yeah, I think we did a top 5 players in Richmond 2 weeks ago, and top 5 receivers, you know, who could put above Mike Quick with the accolades that you have.
Well,
number one.
I don't know. So, if you go back to the Richmond County days, probably not so much. But if you go to the next level, when I went to NC State, yeah, big numbers, and certainly when I got to the NFL. But when I think about the Richmond days, I was probably a better defensive back and safety than I was a receiver, although I was a receiver.
That's good.
But it really, for me, the growth and when I started to take off is when I the year after my senior year at Richmond, I went to Fork Union to the military academy. And that's when I really started to hone my skills as a wide receiver. But if you go back to the 1977 North Carolina State Championship game, 4A State Championship game, we played High Point Andrews. Was it Andrews or? Yeah. And Mark Clark was our quarterback. And there was one ball that he hit me on a post with over the middle of the field that hit me right in the numbers. But, man, I was so cold, I couldn't even close my fingers around the ball and drop the pass. That game ended up in a 6-0 win for High Point. The only score was on a busted play. Chris Brown, their running back, went around the end on a busted play and scored a touchdown. But everything else was just defense. We couldn't score. They couldn't score. We had two great defenses out there that night, and we ended up losing the game on a busted play. But had I caught that post right here, it could have been a different story. What's crazy is getting reminded of that every now and then by people like some of the old heads. When I'm home, they'll remind me of that pass that I dropped in that state championship game.
Great. We had the 78 championship class on last week, and they were saying back in them days it was all about defense. Defense was games of 6-0, 12-0, and defense was the one that was scoring.
Yeah,
even offense.
No, we had some great football players on that team, and it was all about defense. Mark Clark was a quarterback, but we weren't a passing team. Donnie LeGrand was an unbelievable running back. He and Walter Sturdivant. But Donnie played both ways. Well, Walter did too. But Donnie LeGrand, who also went to state the year before I did, was one of the best kick returners still today I've ever seen. But Donnie, Walter Sturdivant in the backfield, and Bill Ramsey was one of the ends, and I was on the other side. Offensive line was just so, but yeah, it was about the defense. Our defense was real good, and I was a safety on the back end of that defense.
I got you. Well, what I like to do on this show is, man, I like to start way back in the days when you was a youngster, man.
Yeah.
So your furthest memory of sports, what can you remember? Was it basketball, baseball, or was it basketball for you coming up?
Dude, I remember the first time that we went out for football. I remember when rec football started in Hamlet, and we were at the, I think it was Fairview Heights School, and they had these baseball fields in the back of Fairview Heights, and it might have been a Saturday morning or whatever day it was, we all were there and lining up, and they would take little pieces of paper and they would stick a number on you so that when you're running around, the guys that were going to be the coaches, I don't know if it was probably like 6 teams, 4 teams or 6 teams. And so they put a number on all of us so that the guys who were going to select, they would know by number and make the selections by the number. So at the end of having us run around and do all of these drills, then the coaches they line us all up and started to pick the guys that they wanted. And Clyde Norton was the guy that started coaching me. It was Hamlet Recreation. That was the name of our team. And I was 8 years old, man.
8 years old.
I was 8 years old when rec football started in Richmond County. And Clyde Norton picked me for Hamlet Rec. There were teams in Rockingham. There were a couple of teams in Hamlet. I don't remember exactly how many teams altogether, but that's what started me. And the practice was down at the old fairground in Hamlet, down across from the city lake.
Over City Lake.
Yep.
And that ground was hard.
And it was hard, and there was sand spurs, and it wasn't real grass. It was just a place that could accommodate us. So
Correct.
That's where we had practice. And I remember how my brother, cousin really, but we grew up like brothers, Buck Foster Blake, who's also on that defense. He played defensive end on that Raiders team. We used to, after school, grab our gear and, we'll put on our shoulder pads and pants and take our helmet, and we walked from the projects in South Hamlet down to the fairgrounds, because that's where we practice every day.
Nice.
But, that really started the whole discipline of playing sports. It's you really have to establish discipline to do it, to make sure that you're on time all the time and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And to me, that really started to establish the discipline that I needed to be a ball player and to have gone on and do what I've been able to do. But Clyde Norton also had the basketball team. He coached me in basketball as well. And then baseball season came around and I played baseball too. So that's what we did do. whatever the season was in, that's we played. It wasn't like today where guys or
All
kids
season,
would,
one sport.
yeah, they played one sport year round. No, we played everything. And, I just believe that it just helps if you play multiple sports, the skills transfer, and it just helps you to do that.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So did your rec team play like Hamlet teams? They played Rockingham, they played Ellaby, they played
Yeah, we played all around. Played Hamlet, Rockingham.
Who won?
Who what?
Who won the games?
Oh, we won all the time. No,
If you Rockingham now.
Man, come on, man. We thrashed Rock.
I'm a Rockingham guy, man.
I tell you what, though. Rockingham had a team, Richmond Savings and Loan, the West family. They had West, one of those car dealerships in Rockingham, and they backed that team. Now, they were good. They beat us. I think my first year or first and second year, we were probably the best team. But then they became like the powerhouse because they had Harry Stanback. And Harry was taller than everybody. He was bigger than everybody. And Harry just beat us all up. So, and nobody could stop Harry. He was just too big. We had a guy on our team, though, Mike Wallace. They called him Lightning. And he was like lightning. And he was so quick, so fast. He was hard to touch. That's how we won those early years when I first started, because Mike Wallace, Lightning, he was the dude. He was
really everybody.
Huh? He could outrun everybody. He could outrun everybody. And see, for me, when I got cold, I was no good.
You in that cold.
I couldn't do cold. And because then you didn't have the thermals and the they have such great technology in the clothes now that can keep you warm. Man, we didn't have all that kind of stuff. We just had to go out there and go for it. And but for whatever reason, I remember how tough Mike Wallace was. And for whatever reason, he could handle that cold weather, could carry the ball and wouldn't fumble the ball. And that's what we did. We kept feeding the ball to Mike Wallace, Lightning.
One question that we ask everybody on this show is, what was your first football position you played?
Ooh. So that's a good question. So I played in. Okay. I actually played fullback for a little bit. I tried to play quarterback. None of that stuff worked out. But I was an end before I was split out. Before it was a wide receiver or split end, I was an end, like the end man on the line of scrimmage next to the tackle. And trying to block. And I remember because Craig Dumas was on that team too. So Craig Dumas was a fullback and running back. And I remember Craig had to miss a game or something, and they put me at fullback. Man, I didn't want to play no fullback. That was too hard. They hit too hard in the middle right there.
I was a fullback, so I know.
Yeah, man. I didn't want that.
Got no credit for nothing.
Dude, I didn't want that smoke, them ringing my bell all the time. I'd rather be out wide or on the outside where, there's not as much going on. Yeah. But I tried quarterback, and I wasn't good at that either. But I found my spot. I could catch the ball even when I was young.
So you grew up in Hamlet.
Yeah.
What part of Hamlet you grew up?
So we started on the North Yard, what's called Dobbins Heights now. Mm-hmm. But the little shotgun house that we lived in there burnt down when I was in first grade. And because there's so many of us, my mom had 9 of us, but raised 10. And what happened was, because when that house burnt down first grade, you got all these kids, and we had really nowhere to go. And so different people in the church let us stay. So I went to my granddad's house, who was over near the railroad tracks in Hamlet. But we kind of was spread out for a couple of months to different people in the church. And different people in the church would let it, 2 or 3 of them stay there and a couple stay here until we were able to get that little place on the North Yard. It's still there too. I just passed it last week when I was home. And the house has 2 bedrooms. It has a kitchen and it has a living room. And And so all the boys were in one room, the girls were in one room, and there was a kitchen, and my mom slept in the living room. We made it work.
So out of them 10 kids you raised, where do you fall?
I'm number 7 of the 9 that my mom had, and my cousin that she also raised, he and I grew up almost like twins. We're just months apart.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, and you know, in the 3rd grade, we moved down to South Hamlet, to the projects in South Hamlet. And so that's when I first, golly, in fact, that's, seems like that's the first time I went to integrated school. Like on the North Yard, I was in all black school. And at Fairview Heights is the first time I went to integrated school. And that was, I think, 3rd grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so how was that change going from all black to an integrated school?
It was kind of scary. It was intimidating. It was just different. I was not comfortable for a long time, but you know, you learn to adjust.
Was it a treatment from the kids or the teachers or?
I think it was both. That I just had not. So I was at Fairview Heights when I was on the North Yard. No. What is it? Capitol Highway. Yeah, Capitol Highway on the North Yard. Before that was torn down. And, you know, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, that's where I was until, you know, I went to South Hamlet and went to Fairview Heights. But yeah, I was, it's kind of strange to think this day and age that, you know, it sounds like somebody back in history to tell you that
They went to a segregated school. Yeah.
Yeah.
It surprised me just hearing it.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, they think stuff happened a million years ago when it was just
No, it was not that long ago. No,
Correct.
It was not that long ago.
All right, so I'm gonna cause a little rift. Who's the most athletic in your family as far as siblings?
It's a good question.
It's 9 of y'all, so y'all have to compete every day out.
Hey, so look, my brother Billy was probably the smallest, but probably the toughest, and he might have been the most athletic. My brother Leroy could play everything. My oldest brother James didn't really play. You know, he was the one that had to work. So Billy and Leroy, they were good athletes. My brother Dennis, though, that's the dude that I watched all the time, and that dude was phenomenal. I used to love to see him play, and I used to always go to watch him play. When he was playing like high school basketball, high school football, when he ran track, Buck and I, we were always there. We always, you know, that's what we did. And all those guys that he played with, I always, you know, I think about those guys, and I always watched all those guys and what they did, and I know that it helped me a lot. And then sometime I even, growing up, I played like in the park with a lot of those guys many times, which also, you know, helped me.
Yeah.
But yeah, my brother Dennis was the truth, man. Real good basketball player. In track, I was at Hamilton High School one night when he had 3 touchdowns against Union Pines. I'll never forget that night, and he lit it up. Yeah, but all those guys, you know, Lewis Breeden was a part of that team back then, and there were so many guys that I can think about that I watched when I was a kid from those teams.
Great. So let's get to home a little more. Your mother, I know, was a pastor at some point. Was she pastoring back then, or were you guys heavy in the church back then? Like every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Bible study,
Sunday, Wednesday,
Bibles,
revivals, all
hey,
that.
church.
Yeah. When we were young, you knew where you were going to be on Sunday, and even sometimes, well, most times on Wednesday, you had to go to prayer service, and you know, there's always some kind of union going on or revival. And yeah, when we were young, that's where we knew we had to be. And couldn't wait for church to get out because we'd run home to try to watch Tarzan, especially back when I was real young and we had the little black and white TV living on the North Yard. Right after church, we'd run home and try and like get the rabbit ears and everything straight so we could watch Tarzan.
So, how important do you think that having that faith based to lean on has played in your life?
That's all, man. That's everything. That's really, um, I just kind of talked to a group when I was home last week about that. The fact that I've had success in my life and as a professional athlete and otherwise, it's not really me. It's all that God has done in my life. It's not that I'm so great, I'm anything. It's just that I have his favor on my life, and I know that. And I've known that for a long time, that I have God's favor on my life. And because of that, I'm able to do a lot of things that I couldn't even dream of doing. I didn't have dreams as big as my life has grown. I didn't have these dreams. I mean, I wanted to be a professional athlete, but I didn't know that I could be. I think all young boys, when we run around playing ball, you try to emulate different guys that play ball, or you try and just mark yourself after different guys that play. But I had no idea that I would get to the level that I got to. And it's God's favor on my life. And I've always known that. And I've never been confused about that. It's not me. Because I can tell you this, Bro Carter, there are so many guys that I grew up around that could do what I've done in sports. There's so many guys in those projects that I grew up in that were so talented. Golly, while I'm saying that, and I'm thinking about Steve Scott, one of the boys out of the Scott family. They had like 15 to 16 kids, but they were so talented. But there were so many people like that around Hamlet and Rockingham that just didn't get the opportunities that I got. But a lot of those guys, older guys, they kind of paved the way for me. They made it easier for me to have opportunities to do what I was able to do. So I like to pay homage to those guys because they really laid the groundwork and made it easier for me. So when I go through doing what I do, I want to make sure that I do it the right way, because I know that then it makes it a little bit easier for the next guy that looks like me that comes along behind me.
Correct. That's the whole point of us doing these series is, for folks can see the guy that paved the way for guys like me and these young guys behind it. Sometimes these guys get a little gap in there and forget. Hey, you ain't the first guy to do something at Richmond. You got guys that been doing it for a long time that paved the way for you. So
that's right.
So that's great. That's great. So let's get to junior high school. It was at Hamlet.
Yep.
Hamlet.
Yeah,
we played all sports at Hamlet: basketball, baseball, football, soccer.
Yeah, I played everything. So I didn't play baseball. I did play like when I was real young, I played baseball. Then I stopped playing baseball kind of like middle school, and I started running track then.
Okay.
Because I'm a track guy. My brothers were track guys.
Same season.
Yeah. Same season as baseball. Correct. And I didn't like baseball that much anyway. I could just play baseball, but I didn't really like baseball. So middle school, real good football teams we had. We were really good because we had like some real good players. This guy, Larry Duncan, Bill Ramsey, I mentioned him earlier, Walt Sturdivant, Craig Dumas, Ike Huey. Woo, Ike Huey was good.
Ike Huey, ain't sound familiar.
Ike Huey was good. And Buck, Foster Blake, my cousin / brother. Man, we had so many like really, really good players. What's his name? I just saw Ronnie Martin. He was our center on an undefeated team. I just saw him last week at the community event that I did. And I hate that I didn't mention that he was on the team with me when I think we went undefeated that year. We beat everybody.
Well, you just killed my question because I was going to say, did y'all beat Rockingham? You just told me.
Yeah, we beat we were like, then like my junior high school years, we were like
dominant,
real special. Yeah. And then I go to Richmond and that
before Richmond now, still at Hamlet.
All right.
At Richmond, basketball, while you played what position?
I played the three. I played the small forward, and sometimes I played the two, but I was primarily the three. Well, the three and the four. No, I didn't play small. I played the three and the four. Jim Blanks was our center.
How
And,
tall were you in middle school? When did the growth come?
I was always kind of tall, but just skinny, and just had I was wiry.
Yeah.
I think in high school I got to 6'2", and when I got to the NFL they said I was 6'3", but I don't think I ever really got to 6'3". I was 6'2" and something.
Yeah,
but in high school I was 6'2". But I could play above the rim, and I could halfway shoot. So
was you dunking in middle school?
Not in middle school, no.
Middle school. Okay.
I probably got my first dunk in middle school, but I wasn't really dunking.
Dunking, yeah.
Yeah. It was like when the older guys had bent the rim in the front a little bit.
Somebody throw it up.
Yeah, and I could get over the rim and push it in the basket. Yeah, it was more like that.
Cool. So you mentioned track in middle school. What events were you really good at?
So I was a high jumper. I was a quarter miler. I tried the long jump because my brother long jumped, but I was never really good at it. But I was the high jump, the quarter mile, and 200 were probably that was my sweet spot. But then as I got older, I got better at other things. I became a hurdler, and I became a good hurdler.
I heard that 110, what do you think? Yeah,
that was my thing. Yeah. That 110-meter hurdles, that was it. That was I loved it. Still today, if there's a track meet on, that's what I gotta watch. I want to see the hurdles because I just think it's just one of the most graceful athletic events there is.
That'd be athlete do hurdles, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were there any coaches in middle school or teachers that was very helpful on your journey?
Nope.
Okay.
That's the so yeah. Well, I'll say this. What's his name? Not Hal Stewart. Stewart was a football coach, but there was another guy. I can't think of his name. Tall, skinny guy used to shake the coins in his pocket all the time. But he was the track coach, and he was decent. The basketball coach was a guy who actually ex-basketball player who was actually pretty good. He could still shoot. I don't even remember his name, but I thought he was a real good basketball coach. I think the mark was really made once I got to Richmond, though. The middle school coaches, they were like middle school coaches today. They don't really
anybody out there to do it.
Yeah, they're just kind of guys who are gonna make sure that kids will stay orderly and have some kind of order and make sure that you're participating and that sort of stuff. But they're not like coaches that are gonna refine you and make sure that you're progressing in the skills.
Got you.
Yeah.
Quick question then.
Lewis, that's his name, Hank Lewis. I think that was his name. I don't need to talk about him anyway.
What point did you know that you were just a supreme athlete? Was it high school or Hamlet or rec league? When you realize, hey, I ain't that bad?
When you go to the park and they start picking you first all the time.
Great question. Great answer.
Yeah. So look, this is where you this is where you medal. When you go to the park and you're not the one who's choosing the teams and they pick you first. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm that dude then.
That was a great answer. You definitely truthful about that. And if you ain't get picked, you get picked last. You ain't doing too well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm guessing back then, 9th grade was still part of middle school, or was it part of high school back then?
That was middle school. I went to high school at 10th grade over at Richmond. Yeah.
So how was 10th grade at Richmond? Did you play JV or varsity in 10th grade?
I played JV, everything JV. Yeah, and I needed JV because they had bigger, stronger guys.
And some studs.
Yeah, man. Jeff Thomas and Billy Ray Diggs and what's this boy name? Man, they had so many great, Harry Stanback, the linebacker from Rockingham that was so good, probably should have gone to the NFL. Keith Bostic.
Okay.
Dude, we had so many great players over there, man. So I was JV and I needed to be JV. I needed to drink my milk and keep growing up.
So by the time you get to high school, is your mind on college, or you just playing sports, having fun?
I'm just playing sports, having fun. Yeah, that's all. And I always loved sports and wanted to make sure that I could go to practice every day. So, yeah, that was my thing. I wanted to play ball, and I wanted to play when it was track season. I wanted to be in the middle of it. Football season, I'm in it. As soon as football season's over, like the guys that weren't really good basketball players that were holding our spots when football season was over, we go to the hardwood and they have to get out the way.
Out the way.
You holding my spot.
So you played basketball all 3 years also?
I did.
Basketball, track, and football all 3 years.
All 3 years at Richmond, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And had real good coaching out at Richmond too, by the way. Willie Young, who was the track coach and the football coach, Ron Crawl, he and Young both were football and track. And then Sonny Clayton was the basketball coach. He was all right.
Question, coaching wise, them guys back then, was it, because you had your passive coaches, you had your tough love coaches, and you had your know-it-all coaches. Was them guys tough love coaches or passive coaches or know-it-all coaches?
So I think that Ron Crawl was a great coach. I think he was a teacher. I think he cared about the athletes. And Willie Young, we called him Big Papa Bear. Big old brother, big burly chest, wore a little afro all the time. But Willie Young was not only a friend of ours, but Willie Young wanted to see us succeed, and he stayed on us. And I think that really helped a lot of us, that we had two coaches that on the football team that we could sense that they cared about our well-being. And that was important. You can get a lot out of people when they know you care. And that's what they were able to get a lot out of us, because we felt the care from those guys. And I had both of them when I went to the track when it was track practice time.
Right.
And basketball, I had Sonny Clayton was a nice guy, sweet man, but he really didn't know basketball, and he was, a guy keeping the space. But I never thought that he was a really good coach. But it showed in the way we played.
Y'all had to play.
I'm gonna tell you what we had. I don't know if you remember Willie Pemberton, but boy, Willie Pemberton, he could fill it up. Little bitty dude. Willie Pemberton could fill it up. But my junior year, Sherman Everett was like.
I know Sherman now, Piney Grove. I know Sherman.
Dude, Sherman was so good.
I know
Sherman, and Sherman was a hustler too. Sherman, there's not a rebound that Sherman couldn't get to. Yeah, Sherman was real, real good.
I heard it too.
There was another guy out of Ellaby that he had a heart issue, but he probably would have been the best player on the team. I can't think of his name. Used to wear a big afro, and boy, he could play. I remember playing against.
Back then, didn't he?
I played, not me. I had this little teeny weeny, but I played against him in middle school, and he was so good. But he ended up with some type of heart condition, and they wouldn't let him play in high school. But Pemberton, Dave Morris, Jim Blanks, man, we had a nice basketball team.
Okay.
Big Tree, James Smith, we called him Tree Rollins. We had a nice squad. We had some good players.
I'm gonna ask a question that I don't think I ever asked before, but I'm gonna ask it. No, it's not crazy. Back in those days, how many black business owners were there around as far as black business owners?
Not a lot, but there were a few. You know, we all got our tuxedos from Rockingham from what's the guy that owned
Boy,
the yeah
Mr.
yeah
Boy, oh Lord.
yeah
The boy was there for a long, well, he passed away now, but he was there
yeah.
for a long time. Yeah.
And you know, we all always had funeral homes that were, you know, black. And
You know what?
in fact, I didn't mention Maceo McCahan, but when I was in rec league, he was one of our assistant coaches, and Maceo used to come out there and coach and, you know, scream at us and and talk a whole lot of noise. But yeah, that. But there were not a lot of black-owned businesses.
It's crazy because I was born in 1983, and I grew up on Brooks Avenue, which is the same road that Mr. Boyd Bridal Shop is on, and he was the only black person I know that owned the business. that I ever knew to own the business was Mr. Boyd. So I'm just trying to see, way back in your days, it was the same thing. So
yeah.
Hopefully these days things have changed a little bit for sure.
I hope so.
All right. So I did my research a little bit, and it said in one of your videos I watched, it said that you was great at sports in high school, but you didn't pay too much to academics. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So when it's time to get recruited to go to school, what schools was sending in letters or calling?
So here's the deal. I almost went to Johnson C. Smith to play basketball. I was very close to doing that because academically I didn't have the prerequisite to go to the major schools, to the Division I schools. So Ron Crawl sat down with me and he explained to me my situation and told me his thoughts, what he felt like I should do. I listened to Ron Crawl that day. He put these two pamphlets in front of me, and they were for prep schools. And he said that you need to spend a year in a prep school, because if you do that, then you'll be able to write your own ticket. And he was correct. I left Richmond Senior High, and I enrolled in Fork Union Military Academy.
In what year?
That was 1978.
78. So you graduated.
So I graduated Richmond in 77. So my 77, 78 year was at Fork Union Military Academy.
So your senior year was at Fort Union, or no?
Yeah, no, I graduated Richmond first, and then I spent a prep year. So that's what he told me. He said, you need a year to prepare yourself for college. So I went to a prep school, Fork Union, to prepare myself for college, and that's exactly what I did.
So going to a military school, was that like a culture shock, or were you used to getting up at that time in the morning and?
So I didn't have a problem with getting up in the morning, because in the summer, many times I used to go and pick peaches and crop tobacco and all that kind of nonsense. So getting up in the morning wasn't a thing. But there's other disciplines that I learned there that really helped me out a whole lot. You had to have your boots shine every day. You had to go out in formation at 6:30 in the morning and make sure that everything in your room was in order and your uniform is perfectly in order. Then you march to chow. And after chow, you go to classes. And the one thing, there are a lot of things that I think I learned being at Fork Union, but at night, they had what they called CQ, closed quarters. And you would sit down at your desk, and there were like lieutenants, sergeants, people that walk up and down the hall, and they would come in and peek over your shoulder just to make sure you're getting your work done. So there were 2 hours every night that you had to be at your desk getting work done, and they made sure that you did that. That made a huge difference for me, because I didn't want that, but that made all the difference in the world. That I had to sit down, like, yeah, you're going to sit down, you're going to do this. And I did. And I sat down and I started to get it done. So, yeah.
So going back earlier, you said that being at Fort Union is where you learned to play wide receiver. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I really started to sharpen my skills at Fork Union. And not only like physically, mentally, I was on the honor roll because, I had to sit down and study. And it's not like I didn't have the capacity. I just didn't do it. I just didn't put the time in when I was in high school. So that year they forced me to do it, and I did it. And then when it got to the sports, because there are no distractions, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
So
You're training. You're going to school. You're training. You get up and you do it all over again the next day, and you do that the whole year. And so physically, I came out of there a different person. Mentally, I came out of there a different person. And by the way, it is a Christian school, so they also feed your spirit while you're there. So Fork Union did a lot for me. When I came out of there, I knew that going to NC State, I was going to be ahead of a lot of the guys in my class.
And was it always NC State after Fort Union, or you had choices to go somewhere else? And why NC State?
I had choices.
Where?
I had choices in every sport, quite honestly. I ran track there, I played basketball there, played football there. I just, because it was away and I was so isolated, I wanted to go back to North Carolina. And I decided that I would go to NC State or Carolina. My brother Dennis was at Carolina at the time. He was running track at Carolina. He played freshman basketball at Carolina, but then he stopped playing basketball, just ran track all 4 years. Yeah. But I just decided that I'm not going to go to school to play basketball. I'm going to go to school to play football. I felt like that would get me the most mileage, and it did.
Gotcha. And the coach at that time, it was Ron Kroll.
Ron Kroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kroll was the one that set me on the path of Fork Union. Because like I said, I was going to go to Johnson C. Smith and play basketball.
Gotcha.
Who knows how things would have turned out. But like I said, it wasn't like the path that I've traveled. It wasn't my plan. And I realize now that it wasn't my plan all along. I mean, like I told you, man, I have God's favor on my life, and that's why I'm talking to you right now.
For sure. Okay, so at NC State, there's nobody looking over your shoulder 2 hours at nighttime or
don't need it.
You already locked in now.
Yep.
Locked in. I know what to do. I'm gonna get it done because I gotta get it done.
I'm gonna get it done because I want to get to the next level. I could see then that
now you can see the next level.
I could see then
right
that
here.
Okay, yeah, I could see what was important then, and I also realized that this is a way that I can get my family out of the projects, and that's what I was able to do. Yes,
that's a great motivation.
So in 1982, when I was the number 1 draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles, I told my sister and my mom, like, y'all need to go look for a house.
Let's go back a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who was some of the guys you played with at NC State that made the league also?
Well, Donnie LeGrand was there. He should have made the league. But I had a lot of guys like Ted Brown, who was a running back in Minnesota for a lot of years. Jim Richer was a center at Buffalo. Richard Carter.
Donnie LeGrand. He's from Rockingham.
Ellaby. He's from Ellaby.
Donnie
State. He was unbelievable.
First time hearing his name on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perry Williams, of course. Perry was a year behind me, but Perry was a stud his whole life. When he was a little bitty, like Perry was one of the fastest kids in the county most of his life.
I'm trying to get Perry on too, man. If you see him, let him know I'm hunting him down.
Yeah, get Perry on here. But yeah, we had a lot of great players at NC State. A lot of really good players. Yeah.
Okay. So draft. Well, I watched the video too. It said, mostly in college they didn't pass you the ball that much, but
yeah,
I seen a little film and he was blocking, knocking guys on their butt, blocking all day.
That's what I did. So listen, I had to show that I was tough because I didn't make the best decision based on my skill set as to where I was going to go to school. I go to NC State. They're running the veer. They're handing the ball to Ted Brown, the first down, second down. And if we need to throw on third down, then I might get a chance.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that was the offense at NC State. So I didn't make the best decision when it comes to my skills, but I made the best of the situation. And because we ran the veer, because I had the block, I was able to show the next level NFL scouts that, oh, this guy's tough. He'll knock people over. He'll mix it up. And I never mind mixing it up. I didn't like shy away from that. I never like feared from that at all. So that was one of the things that they saw. And oh, by the way, when they do throw the ball, they're going to throw it to number 22 because I wore 22 at NC State. They're going to throw it to 22 because that's what we did. We handed the ball off, and then we threw it to me. And everybody in the stadium could know that they're going to throw it to me, but we made it work.
You got to stop it. I don't care what you know. You got to stop it.
You still got to stop me.
Yeah. Okay, so track in college also. You ran track.
I ran track.
Hurdles.
Yeah.
How'd that go? You win some meets, had some records, some numbers.
So yeah, we did. We had a good track team. I didn't want to go to spring training, so I would run track. so I didn't want to go to spring football. So the best way to get out of that is to run track. So I ran track during the spring, so I didn't have to go. But we had a real good track team, and yeah, I was always there and would get points for the track team, because I could. I was a good hurdler. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about hurling, man. What does it take to be a good hurdler? I know speed is a small point of it, but you got to be precise in your steps, correct?
Yeah, it takes a whole lot of work. I tell you Mike Patrick in high school taught me how to run the hurdles.
Mike Patrick, the sheriff preacher man?
Yeah, Sheriff Patrick.
Yeah.
Mike Patrick taught me how to run hurdles. So Mike Patrick was the hurdler at Richmond. And I wasn't running when we first got to Richmond, I wasn't a hurdler. But Willie Young told me to go try to, it might have been, I don't know if it was Coach Crawl or Young, but they told me that they wanted me to try the hurdles. I didn't know anything about the hurdles, but then Mike started teaching me what to do, and I quickly caught on. Yeah.
Cool. Great. All right. So now we're in college. Everything is going good. We done learn how to be.
I forgot to talk about Mike Patrick as a football player.
Go ahead, talk to me.
Look, Mike Patrick was a stud too.
Okay.
And so he was so good in the hurdles, and he looked so smooth. That was one of the reasons I wanted to do it. But as a football player, Mike Patrick would knock you in the dirt.
I know Mike went to Elizabeth City.
Elizabeth City, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're in college and we're trying to get to the league to make some money to take care of my family. Did we have what is it, the draft combine back then, or?
I went to the combine, and both of the combines that I went to, one was in Dallas, and it was like 35, 40 degrees. And
you like being cold.
Again, that was not for me. And I did not perform well at the combine, and I didn't care. I just wanted it to be over.
Yeah. So did you talk to the teams though?
I talked to a couple of teams.
Would you have any knowledge of who was gonna pick you?
I did. I thought that I was gonna go to New Orleans or Cleveland because I spent more time talking to those guys. And even like in the bowl games, I played in the college all-star games. I went to the Blue-Gray game, and I went to the Olympia Gold Bowl out in San Diego. Huh?
You did it all, brother.
So, yeah. So, the college all-star games were a big thing. So I went down to the Blue-Gray all-star game, and I won MVP. We won the game, the side that I was on, and I was MVP of that game. We go out to San Diego, and I played in the other game out there and showed well there. So, the combines are cool, but it's not what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's not what it's all about. They've made it so big now, but it's like,
if you can play the film tells it all.
If you can play, you can play.
Yeah.
And guys who know how to look at players and figure out if they can play or not, those are the valuable guys, not one that they're holding the stop clock and that's correct. Anybody can run fast.
I have a random question because I have a lot of receivers that I deal with in my program. If you could tell a young receiver right now, what's the most important thing to get better as a receiver? From your point of view.
Catch the ball. Period. Catch the ball. One of the things that when I go to Fork Union, I was the receiver on one side. John Richardson was the receiver on the other side. He ended up going to Carolina to play wide receiver. His father, Jerry Richardson, played for the Baltimore Colts back in the day, and he also owned the Carolina Panthers.
Correct.
So Jerry, because John had grew up under Jerry Richardson, when I got to Fork Union and I saw him catching the ball, it was something different about the way he caught the ball. And I picked up on it. Like when he caught the ball, you could barely hear it. It wasn't like the ball, it was like it didn't make much sound. When he caught the football, you didn't hear the pigskin hit his hand hard. It was like, he just sucked it in. And that taught me a whole lot. Then I started watching the way he caught the ball, and I started catching the ball without try to make it as quiet as possible, because then you're really using your fingers. The ball is not getting into the palm of your hands, and you don't drop the ball when it's not getting into the palm of your hand. So I'm catching the ball with my fingers like Richardson, and I just got better at it. But just watching people all the time, and I always did that. I'm always watching and trying to learn. And because he already had that background and I didn't have that knowledge, I'm soaking it up.
Cool.
Catching the ball. If you got receivers,
that's a gym there.
Listen, it's in the name. You're a receiver.
Receiver. Yeah.
Catch the ball.
These guys be doing 1,000,001 feet drills and all that stuff, and still
that's important. I mean, it's important that you have, but if you have skills, I mean, you can teach them everything else.
Cool. Well, listen, that was a big tip for you guys watching out there. Quiet catches. Catches.
Yeah.
Not the palm, but using fingers.
Yeah. You don't want it to hit your palm.
For sure. All right. So, are we having a draft party, or we at the house with the family?
When I got drafted?
Uh-huh.
No, I was still up at NC State. There was no draft party. There was no like red carpet and 2 days in New York and all that nonsense that they do now.
Just a phone call.
I was waiting for a phone call at my girlfriend's house in Raleigh. And I got the phone call and I said, wow. I hung up the phone. I said, wow, I'm going to be a Philadelphia Eagle.
You said first round. Was it number first round or just first round?
So I was the Eagles' #1 draft pick in 1982, and the Eagles had the 20th pick. So I was the 20th overall pick in the 1982 draft.
They wanted you, buddy.
Yeah. Yes.
They wanted you first overall pick for the Eagles in the draft. That means they needed a receiver that year.
They needed a receiver that year. They didn't listen, but who they really wanted was Perry Tuttle out of Clemson. But Buffalo moved up right ahead of them, and they drafted Perry Tuttle. So I was a consolation in Philly. Tuttle played 3 years, and I played forever.
It was a great choice.
Good move.
Move for them. All right, yeah. So we finally drafted, finally able to buy Mama a house.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? First
so in 82, when I realized I was about to get drafted and I knew I was going to be a high pick, I asked my mom and my sister to go.
I'm sorry. Your family member said you got booed at first, so they booed you.
Who booed me?
They said they booed him at first.
So when in Philadelphia, when they first drafted me, they probably did, but I don't care. I didn't. That kind of stuff never fazed me. My eye was on the prize.
Sure.
Yeah, my eye's always on the prize. But I told my mom and my sister Rosa to go find us a house, and that's what they did. They went and found us a beautiful rancher, and we've been there now for 40-some years.
Off of Balladary Road.
Off of Balladary Road. Yeah.
You know where the house is. So you bought that house for your family, mama.
I bought a house for my mom. Yes.
That had to be amazing. That's a dream of many kids that most don't get to do, man. It had to be an amazing feeling to say, hey, mama, here you go.
Yep, that's right.
Wow. And siblings. Here y'all go.
Yeah, well, so, when listen, man, I come from
home beginning.
I come from North Yard. I come from the projects. And when you have the success that I have, you want to, I do. I don't know about other people, but I want to be able to share that and let everybody come up on me if that's what it is.
Gotcha. So you get to the Eagles. Was it a different well, stupid question. The level of competition, was it just so much greater, or you just fit in perfectly, or you
So
were so
yeah,
confident
the
that first season?
the level of competition was great, but it wasn't anything that I wasn't used to. I was ready.
You was
I was
confident.
ready. I was ready. So the first year, my first year in the league, though, it was a strike shortened year. The league was on a big strike, so we only played a few games. And my first year, I caught 10 passes. Because then Dick Vermeil didn't really want to. He didn't believe in giving rookies a lot of burn. So I played, but I didn't get a whole lot of opportunities. But I learned a whole lot. I like there was so much that I had to learn and that I did learn in my rookie season about knowing the NFL, knowing the real game, studying defenses and knowing how defenses rotated and how they try and take you away in different fashions and all of that stuff. I got that so that, year two, I was ready.
That first year, who was the guy to take you under his wing and show you what the league was like?
He's still my guy today. That was Harold Carmichael.
Carmichael, yeah.
So when I came in the league, I was very fortunate to have Harold Carmichael as my dude. And for 2 years, we were together. And what's funny is now he's probably my best friend. And that's my guy. Like we talk almost every day. So yeah, he really helped me to understand the game, not only the football game, but outside of the game, and how to deal with the people on the perimeter that are trying to get at you in all these different ways. And Harold helped me a lot.
So a young man from humble beginnings with a Christian background, then made it big from a small North Yard hamlet, is in a big city of Philadelphia. He's playing one of the top receivers on the team. How was the city treating you?
Oh man, this city is unbelievable, and it still is today.
Brotherly love.
Yeah, and for athletes in Philadelphia, yeah, we get royal treatment. And it's been 32 years since I caught a ball, but still, I get mad love no matter where I go. That's how Philly is, and they just treat their athletes the way. So when you're playing, if you're not doing what they expect you to do, of course they're going to boo you. You hear everybody talk about how Philly fans are. They are that way, but they're going to love you at the same time.
Great. Well, it says in 1983, the year I was born, you led the NFL in receiving yards. So that was definitely a coming out party that year, your second year in the league, man.
Yep.
How did it feel to be the top receiver in the league that year?
Man, I was just doing what I was gifted to do and given the opportunity to do. Because one of the things I get this opportunity and I want to make the best of it. I've always been that way. I get this opportunity and I want to lick it. I want to make sure that. So guys who would line up on me day to day, they had no idea what was inside my chest because, I'm coming after you with all that I got. And I don't want to be forced to go back to Hamlet. I want to go back to Hamlet on my own terms, not because I didn't do what I should have done when I had the opportunity to do it.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Right. That's right.
Yes,
and that's the way I approached every day.
Take advantage of all your opportunities.
Yeah. Don't line up on me if you don't want to get hurt. Get the next guy. Because I'm gonna try to embarrass you because that's the way I played. And I come into the league just hearing too many stories about guys getting opportunities and blowing their opportunity. And I was not going to be that guy.
Great. So, Hall of Fame career, 5 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros, plethora of passes and catching yards and touchdowns. And also, Are you a Hall of Fame Fort Union player also?
I am in the Fork Union Hall of Fame. I'm in the state of North Carolina Hall of Fame. I'm in the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame. Yeah, I did pretty well.
The accolades is amazing for a young man from Hamlet, North Carolina, man. But it's great for these kids to see that it's possible for somebody that come from where they come from and look the way they look to make it, to what the heights that you've made it in to where you at. So I definitely applaud you for that. Career, how did it end? Was it injuries or you was tired of the game or?
No, I'd play today if I could. So I had a couple of knee surgeries, and I had a broken leg in 89, 88, and then I had knee surgery and another one. And so, after 90, I knew that I was done. It was time to hang it up, time to go to the house. So I
played the Eagles your whole career?
Played my entire career in Philadelphia, 9 seasons. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really a blessing, the fact that I was able to do that, because now, am I skipping ahead of you?
No, you're good.
So now I get this opportunity to go on radio as the Eagles analyst, and 80. So I've been in the broadcast booth now 26 years as an analyst, calling the Eagles games on radio, and also doing a little bit of television work. So when it was time for me to go, I knew it was time to go, and I was ready to go. My last season in the league, I spent there were too many days where I had to take pain meds and do things that I should not have been doing to my body just to make it to the practice field. Yeah. And I know that sort of thing catches up to you. But just to get through a practice, I had to take stuff because the pain was so severe. So in my last year, I probably did too much damage to my body just trying to play. So I knew it was time to get away from it and move on to the next phase of my life. And fortunately, after a few years out in business for myself, I got a call asking me if I'd be interested in being the analyst on radio. And 26 years later, I'm still doing that, doing radio, television. And again, God's been good to me.
God's favor.
His blessing, his favor on my life yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question that you might know off top. You might think about it. Let me see. What was your greatest game or memory as an Eagle?
I think in 88 or 87, I always liked playing against guys who I thought were like the best, because I just like to, match against and see what it's like. And I hadn't played against Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes, and I thought they were like the best. And I had a big game against them. I had 3 touchdowns, and I think I had like 160 yards and 8 catches and 3 touchdowns versus those guys out against the Raiders. And that game kind of stands out to me just because Lester Hayes was so good back then. And Mike Haynes, who's in the Hall of Fame, was probably the best safety in the league at the time. And I had a big day against them. So if you talk about one game that stood out, that would be it. Hey, I'm looking at my thing. I think I have only 2% of a battery left. So I don't know where we are in this, but okay.
We're probably about 15 minutes from being done.
Well, you might not get 15
minutes.
Let's
write this thing up then. Let's see. Okay. Let's go. I got a little game I like doing, showing some photos, and you tell me about how you felt when you see the photos.
All right. Whoa!
Who's this guy right here?
Yeah, that's NC State, my freshman year. Look at those spot built somewhere in the shoes. Those were terrible shoes, by the way. They made my feet bad.
Great. I found this one. How about this one right here? 88.
Yeah.
I didn't feel to have your face on a card, man. Have your own card, man.
Yeah, how about that? Who knew?
A little kid from North Carolina.
Look. Yeah, little nappy head boy from Hamlet.
How about this?
Woo! So I should have won this thing. Every time I see this thing, I get mad because I should have won the slam dunk this year.
What year was this?
I had a couple of dunks in me that I never got to show the world, and
I gotta find this one. Somebody said you came from half court. We came from free throw line one time. Somebody said.
Yeah, but I had this dunk that I would tap off my shoes and throw it down backwards. It was real cool, and I never got to show it because I missed an earlier easy dunk.
Gotcha.
But I should have won that year.
I got you. Well, how about this right here? Tell the folks in Rockingham and the county about this. It's right here, man.
So yeah, man. You know, my mother is my hero, and after she passed away, my brothers and sisters and we talked about doing something in her honor. So we started a golf tournament, and yeah, brother, you got to come out to our golf tournament. So we do it every year around the 4th of July. So this year is going to be the Friday before the 4th of July. And so what we've been able to do is help kids who are going off to college. My mother strongly pushed education. And so we thought, what better way to honor her than allowing kids or giving kids a little bit of help, a little bit of a boost on their way to college by creating this scholarship fund, raising some money with our golf tournament, and any other way we're able to bring in funds so that we can help kids, give them a little bit of cushion on their way out, going to school, putting money in their pockets for college.
Great. Well, this year we're certainly going to share this flyer and whatever flyer you guys got during our podcast, so you get some recognition for it.
Mr. Carter,
on my page also.
Mr. Carter, June 28th. I want you to be there. I want to see your face.
I can't golf. I'm gonna show up.
You don't have to golf. I want to see your shiny bald head. You don't have to golf.
I will be there in the building for sure. Thanks again, man. Thanks, Rakita, for reaching out, and whoever told Mr. Mike Quick that I'm a man to come on the show and do it. I appreciate you so much. The last words I want to hear from you, Mr. Quick, and then we can get out of here. I don't know if you know it or not. It's a lot going on in our community with these kids, and gun violence, and dying every week, every other week. If you have anything positive to say to a young teenage guy that comes from where you come from and might not have dreams of getting to where he is, or have dreams of getting to where you've been, what would you tell him?
Man, you know, first of all, you need to love yourself. And loving yourself, you know, do what's right for you. You know, do what's right for you, do what's best for you, but you got to love yourself and love who you are. And I think we all have gifts. I think God has gifted all of us in some ways. You know, find your gift and stick to that and never give up.
Great, man. I appreciate you, man. You probably got about 1% left, but I finished on a fast note. So anytime.
Let me say this to you. Hey, Mr. Carter, let me say this to you.
Yes, sir.
I really love what you're doing, appreciate what you're doing, and I hope it continues to grow. We have so many great people coming out of our area, out of Hamlet, Rockingham, Richmond County. For you to highlight us, I think it's great. And because there's so many people that need to know our stories. There's so many young people in the area that I would love to know my story and the stories of so many people. A lot of the guys that I mentioned.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man, he went dead. Oh Lord. But listen, we can have Mike on again around tournament time. All right. So I'm gonna text Mike later, and hopefully around tournament time we can have him back on, and he can promote the tournament, and it'll be a part 2 to the Mike Quick story. What a wonderful story coming from Hamlet, North Carolina, the North Yard, and the projects, 9 siblings and small houses. I mean, talk about football players from Richmond County, and I don't know too many that can put the numbers he done put up. Hall of Fame, Fort Union, Hall of Fame, NC State, Hall of Fame, Philadelphia Eagles, 5 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pro. I mean, what can you say? Definitely inspiration, man, to everyone in the county, man. Did what most folks said they want to do, buy mama house. You know, I seen that house. I passed by that house. Beautiful house. Awesome story, man. Awesome story. Great interview. Y'all liked it? Y'all enjoyed it? Oh man, I had a great time. I didn't want to end. I had so many more questions, man. So many more questions. But yes, Miss Rakita Quick will get me all the information for the golf tournament. It might say I need to be there, so I'm gonna be there. June 28th. All right, we'll get time and location, and it's gonna be a great event. All right, support this event, everybody. Great cause. All right, so let me run through this ad for my girl, Miss Brittany Wall. If you want to add on the Ball Guys Know It All podcast, inbox me. Let's figure the thing out. Come on.
Attention all Richmond County residents. Are you ready to take your fitness journey to the next level? Introducing online personal training sessions from a hometown native tailored just for you. Whether you prefer one-on-one attention or the camaraderie of group sessions, I've got you covered. DM me or send me an email to bdwall23@gmail.com to get started.
All right. That's email bdwall23@gmail.com to get started. I'm going to run it again. If you guys need some online physical training, this is the person to reach out to. She's very dedicated, very knowledgeable in the industry, and she's a local, homegrown, doing her thing, all right? Please reach out to her for all you.
Attention all Richmond County residents. Are you ready to take your fitness journey to the next level? Introducing online personal training sessions from a hometown native tailored just for you. Whether you prefer one-on-one attention or the camaraderie of group sessions, I've got you covered. DM me or send me an email to bdwall23@gmail.com to get started.
All right, at bdwall23@gmail.com to get started, man. Mike Quick. Look at it, man. What a story. What a journey, man. Ball Guys Know It All podcast, man. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. All right. We appreciate you guys for joining us this evening. We're back next week. Let me see. All right, so it's gonna be at 8:30, Seven Lakes Golf Course on June 28th. Like I said, Mike's coming back on before the tournament, and we'll get all the information out there to you guys. All right. What do I have left? Shout out to Kevin, man. Kevin is on a cruise with his lady, enjoying himself. Next week, Thursday, 8 p.m., we got Norman Whitley. Mr. Norman Whitley, one of the top 5 backs. Some say top 3, some say top 1. The stats might say top 1. All right, it's opinion based, but them stats. All right, so next Thursday, 8 p.m., we got Norman Whitley on here, you guys. Come back and check us out, all right? Ball Guys Know It All. Hopefully the Lady Raiders won. The Varsity Boys is coming up. Shout out to Varsity Basketball and Boosie. Hope you guys win tonight. And have a great weekend, man. Be blessed. Carter out.